Hey there, grade 9s. Welcome to lesson 5 of chapter 3. In this lesson, we're going to be talking about dividing rational numbers. So this is dividing both fractions and decimals. So I'll go over both of those just in case you forget. So the first example that we're going to kind of talk about is if we have something like negative 5 over 8, and we're dividing it by 3/4. Okay. So 3 over 4. So just a reminder, some of you last year like to kind of do this cross method where you kind of go like this and then like this and multiply them. Your other option is flipping this. So we have negative 5 over 8 and then we're multiplying and it's going to be 4 over 3. So what we're doing is we're getting the inverse of this. The reason I like to do it this way is because then I can actually reduce the fraction as much as I want. So this one, I can reduce them both by 4, so I've got 1 and 2, and then I just multiply across. So 5 times 1 is 5, 3 times 2 is 6, and I have my negative, because my negative stays there. All right, so that's the first example that I want to go over. And that's kind of a refresher from last year. And then the one where we're talking about decimals, if we have something like negative 1.38 divided by 0.6, okay? So one thing that we can do when we're dividing decimals, we can actually ignore the decimals right away. So I might say that I have negative 138 divided by 6, and I can actually do this long division style. So I could actually try to calculate what it's like. So if I have 6, how many times does it go into 138? Well, it goes in twice, and then so that would give me 12. I subtract, I get 18, and 3. Okay. So what is my answer? I'm guessing my answer should be somewhere around 2. Okay. I'm trying to see how many times 0.6 can go into 1.3. Well, my answer would be somewhere around here, because technically speaking, how many decimal places did we have? Well, we had 1 here, and then we had it here, but if I'm moving this over, I'm technically moving this over 1, okay? So now, it's still the same ratio, okay? Divisions are like a ratio. So if I move my decimal over in my outside number, I have to move it over in the inside number, and then my decimal stays right where it was. So my answer becomes 2.3. I have 1 negative sign, so my answer stays as a negative. Okay, we'll go over a couple more examples like that. Maybe that division idea kind of confused you, so I'll try to find one more that we can do as practice. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. So if I have something like 0.32 divided by 0.4. Okay. If I was to put these into my division, my long division, I would have 0.4 going into 0.32. Now I want to try to get rid of these decimals. So if I'm moving this over 1, then I'm going to move this over 1. So now instead of 0.32, I'm going to have 3.2. All right. How many times can 4 go into 30? I put my decimal there. Okay, I still have 32. It can go in 8 times. Okay, so 0.8. How many times can 0.4 go into 0.32? My answer would be 0.8 times. Okay, when I look at my signs, I don't have a positive or a negative. When I'm talking about my decimals, what happened for my initial question? Basically, I moved both of them over 1. Okay, so my ratio, I'm multiplying them both by 10. Okay, but my ratio is still the same. Okay, to put that into perspective, it's like saying how many times can you divide 1 into 10, or how many times can you divide 10 into 100? Your answer is still going to be the same. Okay, it's still the same ratio, right? Think of it as a fraction. Okay, so we could have 1 over 2, or that's the same as 1 divided by 2, or 10 divided by 20, or 100 divided by 200. The ratio is still the same. All we're doing is changing the fraction slightly. All right. So let's go back to another question where we're dividing let's do a mixed number this time. All right. So if we have -4 and 3/5, and that is going to be divided by 3/4. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to want to do, I understand that my answer is probably going to be negative because I have one negative in the symbol. So I can put that there right away. Then I need to make this into an improper fraction. So 5 times 4 is 20. 20 plus 3 is 23/5. I'm going to change this into a multiplication times 4/3. Right? Now I'm actually going to go about solving my question. So 23 times 4 is 92/15. How many times can I take 15 out of 90? That would be 6 times. And I'm left with 2/15. Okay, 2/15. So that becomes my answer in this situation, -6 and 2/15. So when we're dividing, it's similar to what we were doing last year with our division of fractions, similar to what we were doing in grade 7 with our division of decimals. So a lot of this chapter actually ends up being review because we've been using rational numbers for such a long time already, but now we're just kind of giving it a definition. So once again, check your homework in the homework tab. If you have any questions, you know where to bring them, either to the Zoom chat or to the Hangouts. And good luck.